What's up, everybody? And today we're doing another update of the Ukraine-Russia war. A lot of you people seem to be getting some valuable information out of this, and it is seeming to help people, which is very, very important. Again, I'm trying to get as unbiased as I can opinions out there about what's going on. What it seems to be happening is we seem to be having the obviously conflicting information between Russia and so Russia putting out information that's completely contradicting what Ukraine are putting out for information, but also in the West it seems like we're getting a little bit of disinformation between people in the West as well. So we're going to be very careful. Obviously, we're in full support of Ukraine. We hope they're doing okay. We hope that they fight hard and that they survive. But we are getting some disinformation, so please be very careful. The way I am doing these videos is, before I make the video, I go on a plethora of different websites, spanning multiple different kind of areas on the political spectrum, right? All the way to the left, to the right, in the middle, everywhere. And I try to see what consistent headlines are going out, and they seem to be the most common ones and the most important ones. And when I look at them, I see where is the best place to see all them, and it looks like the summary on the BBC has the most consistent headlines across the board. So I don't really care if you agree if you know, for the most part, if anything the BBC put out is good or not. What I genuinely think is that this summary that I've seen so far has been the most consistent across the board. So just bear that in mind, okay? Nothing's perfect, especially when it comes to news. We all know that. But this is the best thing I can find right now, so that's really important. Obviously, we're talking about Ukraine-Russia. It's frustrating and sad that this is happening. It's sad that I have to cover this stuff, but it's important that I do cover it because a lot of people have been telling me that it's important information and it is helping them. However, by the end of this week, I'm going to be doing a little bit more lighthearted stuff because it's hard to just constantly do this. As privileged as I am, it's hard to talk about war all the time because it is sad and it is upsetting. And I'm sure some people in Europe want to see me play some Halo and some other fun stuff to maybe take their mind off it, as privileged as we all can be. So we will be doing that as well. If you're in Ukraine, I do apologize. I don't mean to kind of be insensitive, because I know that it's easy for someone like me to be able to just turn away and play some Halo. But at the same time, I'm wanting to cover this as much as possible to help everyone get the information out there. Because what's most important is the flow of information. The more information out there, the more accessible it is, the easier it is to see. We can all help each other by giving that information out, okay? So we're going to start, as always, with the BBC summary, and then we're going to go over to the live map and see if there's any updates with territory that's been taken by Russia. And I can give some of my predictions with being in the Royal Marines Commandos. I can give some of my military predictions and what I think's going to happen, okay, guys? So let's pop it up. Let's have a little cheeky peek, shall we? This is the summary over here on the BBC. The main headline here says US wants China against support for Russia, but it's not in the summary. I don't see that in the summary anywhere. Let me just refresh it. I don't see that in the summary anywhere. So we'll take a little look and let's see what this is all about. An evacuation convoy of about 160 cars have managed to leave the besieged Ukraine city of Mariupol, authorities there say. Fantastic. Again, I've kind of gone over this plenty of times, that the humanitarian aspect of this is most important. From being in the military, and I spoke to a few good friends of mine from the Royal Marines who I were in training with and some other things, and it seems like across the board we all agree that nobody wants war. We just want to help people now. Like, you know, like I've got another friend of mine who I was messaging who was speaking to me about, you know, he went out to Afghan. He was like, what am I doing here? Like, why am I fighting another person's war? This is ridiculous. And he ended up wanting to leave the military because he wanted to help people. And that's the whole reason I went into the Royal Marines in the first place, to help people, not fighting useless wars. This, obviously, for Ukraine, they're fighting for their land, they're fighting for their house, which is very, very important. But what's also important is the humanitarian aspects. All them civilians, the people trying to just live their lives, get by, relax, can't do that right now in Ukraine, and they need that help. And one thing that can be done to help them is getting out of them areas. And unfortunate as it is, getting out of them areas is the best thing for them to help survive, first and foremost, but also thrive in other places and potentially even go back to Ukraine in the future. So 160 cars managed to leave. Fantastic. I hope they're all okay, and I hope they find a good place to stay and look after themselves. Previous attempts to allow civilians to flee the southern city along humanitarian corridors have failed. Russian attacks continue. So we know what's going on with Russia here. They're saying, yep, we're going to let the civvies out. as long as they come to Russia. And if they don't, they're going to bomb the cities. We've already seen civilians die because Russia doesn't want to go to the West, which is a war crime. And I've said this before. I've seen a lot of people say, the Russian soldiers, the kind of brainwashed. They don't know what they're doing. Putin's making them do this. It's all about Putin. He's the bad guy. Okay, Putin is the bad guy, but there are Russian military members killing civilians, and they know they're doing that. They are also not good people. Granted, there may be some Russian soldiers who surrender. We've seen that. Gone to the Ukraine side and said, look, we didn't know we were doing this. We didn't know this was a war. We don't want to do it. And they surrendered. Hats off to them. But there are also people who are still fighting, killing civilians, and they need to be taken accountable as well. People who've escaped the city have spoken of desperate scenes as residents run out of food and clean water. Okay, so they're running out of water and food. We know that there's like tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people trapped in these cities, and they're running out of water and fuel very quick. Russia know this, and their plan is to be like, look, we're going to let you out, but you got to come to Russia, and they're going to starve them, they're going to choke them. This is classic kind of siege tactic, right, where they surround a castle and starve them to death until they surrender. It's kind of the same thing, but with civilians. Like, look, you can come to our country, or you can stay there and starve. And if you try to escape, we're going to kill you. And that's what Russia are doing. That is a war crime. A woman with a place card reading "No War" has appeared behind a newsreader on Russian state-controlled TV. Interesting. I saw that right here. Let's go over this real quick. Russian TV processor opens up about stunt. Obviously, I don't know what that says, but it might say right here. More news now following our earlier report on the anti-war protester who ran onto the set of Russian state-controlled TV channel with a sign reading, "They are lying to you." Fantastic! Before the stunt, which was broadcasted live on Russia's Channel 1, protester Marina I'm not going to read that because I'll butcher it and I don't want to be disrespectful, recorded a video in which she called the events in Ukraine a crime. "I'm ashamed that I allowed myself to tell lies from the television screen. Ashamed that I allowed Russians to be turned into zombies," an editor at the channel explained. Oh, so she worked there. Interesting. She called on Russian people to protest against the war, saying that only they could stop the madness. She is now in police custody. Good on her. Well done. Marina. I hats off to you. That's fantastic. She's now in jail. Have you seen that video? There's a video that was going live of some guy like interviewing, and as soon as the person was like, Ukraine, police grabbed him and put him in the van. Like, literally, they were stood there and they was like, grab him, put him in the van. And then the next person come up and they're like, yeah, we know about what's going on in the war, blah, 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 Ukraine. Boom, grabbed him in the van. It was crazy. It was like some sort of skit. It was ridiculous. All right, where were we? Negotiations between Russia and Ukraine representatives will resume on Tuesday. It is Monday when I'm recording this, so that might have an update when this comes out. After fourth round of talks end without breakthrough. Let's hope on Tuesday we can get some negotiations going and something important happening. Again, this video will come out 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern on Tuesday. It's been recorded at 6:30 Eastern time on Monday. So there is a little gap there where this talk can go through and something might change. Let's hope so. And if that's the case, I'll cover it in the next video, guys, okay? Russia continues its bombardment of many Ukraine cities, with one person killed in a strike on a block of flats in the capital of Kiev. What an absolute joke. They're the people I'm telling you about. They're the Russian soldiers who know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. They need to be held accountable, not just Putin. Russian Defense Ministry claims that Ukraine missiles killed 20 people in the city of Donetsk. Ukraine has blamed Russia for the attack. Okay, back and forward. I'm sure it'll come to light that it was Russia that did it. This is a classic propaganda thing from Russia, saying that they're the one killing their own civvies, and then blaming it on them, and the West believing it. We can look through all that. We know that Russia are very good with propaganda and brainwashing people. We know that already. They've turned around and said that Facebook is a terrorist organization or something, and they're trying to get away from as much free speech as possible. We're blessed here in the US and a lot of the Western countries like UK to be able to have free speech, and when that's taken away, it is very scary, guys. Very scary. Leveling Up Secretary Michael Grove launches a UK plan to house Ukrainian refugees in people's homes. Okay, so that's actually funny because I was on the phone to my mum, like I think it was like yesterday, and she was like, "Look, if I had the room, I would house people from Ukraine." So I think that's important. I think that's important to note that I'm seeing that personally from my parents. It makes me wonder what the general population would say. I know my mum is a very open and good person, along with my dad, and I know they welcome people, and they're very nice like that. So it wouldn't surprise me if some people say no, but some people say yeah. I want to know what this is all about. I want to know how many people actually sign up and say, yes, let's have people in our house, because obviously being in your house is a very private thing, right? But these people are in dire need. They need help. So yeah. I'm all for that, and I'd love to know more about that. New Russian law aims to put foreign planes to domestic use. Interesting. President Putin has implemented a new law making it harder for foreign aircraft leasing companies to repossess their planes as Western sanctions begin to take effect. The new law will allow foreign jets to be registered in Russia to ensure the uninterrupted functioning of activities in the field of civil aviation. Critics say it will allow Russia to seize privately owned planes and put them to domestic use in the vast country. Russian airlines have 515 jets leased from abroad worth about $10 billion. Holy cow. Foreign owners have until the 28th of March to get them back from Russian companies before sanctions kick in. But as BBC Business correspondent Theo Leggett explains, it's one thing to steal aircraft, it's quite another to keep them operating for any length of time. If Russia goes ahead and seizes foreign-owned planes, it will immediately struggle to maintain them. Very interesting. Again, this is Russia's attempt to kind of overcome the sanctions, which has been very harsh on their economy. Beefing up Ukraine's air defense is top priority, says Minister. I think that's also very important. International Court of Justice ruling on Russia's invasion expected. So when are we seeing this? Wednesday, the 16th of March. So in 2 days, or 1 day when this comes out. That's going to be very interesting. So 1500 GMT. That is going to be 9 where I am. 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. where I am. So I might, if I do a video Wednesday at that time, hopefully we'll see what the crack is with that. A separate war crime investigation has also been launched by the International Criminal Court to look into allegations of war crimes committed in Ukraine. So I wonder if they might not go over that, but we'll see. The next missile was Russian, says Ukraine. The report earlier about the missile strike in the separatist-controlled Donetsk region of eastern Ukraine, which Russia claimed without providing evidence, was launched by Ukraine forces. Now Ukraine's defense ministry is saying that it was undoubtedly a Russian missile, according to the local media. There's not even any point talking about it, Ukrainian military spokesman said during a televised address, accusing Russia of using strike as propaganda. Classic Russia. Russian media have reported earlier that the Ukraine missile hit the center of Donetsk, killing 20 people and injuring several more, and accused Kiev of committing war crimes. Donetsk, is that how you say it? Donetsk? I'm sorry if it's not. Is one of the rebel-held separatist areas where fighting against Ukraine forces has been taking place since 2014. Who was Brent Renaud, UK journalist killed in Ukraine? Sheesh. More than 4,000 civilians successfully evacuated on Monday, says Ukrainian Prime Minister. Number 10 looking to use oligarch properties for refugees. I heard about this. Didn't they take over a member of some sort of Russian housing? Squatting in resident buildings is illegal, says spokesman, but we are working to identify the appropriate use of seized properties while owners are subject to sanctions. Yeah, Russian-owned buildings, take them and give them to the Ukrainians who need housing. It's a good way to do it. Transport Secretary Grant Shapps describes decisions to host Ukrainian families. Okay, let's read this real quick. UK Transport Secretary has told the BBC that he plans to host a Ukrainian refugee family under a new aid scheme announced earlier on Monday. Earlier, he tweeted that his family have been discussing the devastating sanctions in Ukraine for weeks. The Tory MP, North London, added that his family will join others UK households in offering our home to provide refuge to Ukrainians until it's safe for them to return to their country. Fantastic. New evidence highlights corrupt Abramovich deals. Interesting. So I was wondering why. Obviously, he's friends with Putin and they're taking Chelsea off him, basically. But I was wondering if there's any corruption there. BBC investigation has uncovered new evidence about the corrupt deals that made Roman Abramovich a fortune. Let's be honest, he can get sanctioned all he wants. He's a billionaire forever now. He is, unfortunately. The Chelsea owner made billions after buying an oil company from the Russian government in a rigged auction in 1995. Mr. Abramovich paid around $250 million for Sibneft before selling it back to the Russian government for $13 billion in 2005. Jesus! His lawyers say there are no basis for the allegation and has massive, very substantial blah, blah, blah. The Russian billionaire was sanctioned by the UK. So he's gonna be a billionaire forever, guys. They're not gonna take his money off him. He's done. He's got it. He's gone. He's having fun. Forever. Alright. I don't know why this is being a turd. Alright, here we go. Let me just refresh this just to double check that we do have everything we want, and then we're going to go over some of the map. We do have the headlines here, but it's all kind of the same stuff coming out over and over again, so we kind of have an idea what's going over there. I want to do this one relatively quick because there isn't that much happening, apart from these spurts kind of getting a little bit bigger. I do have to say, this area right here, this specific area, my computer's being a little slow here, but this area right here, this one spurt that I've been keeping an eye on this whole time, hasn't gained that much traction. And I'm very interested in that to see where that one goes. The part to the north of it, where is it? Right here is definitely making ways down south. But this part isn't moving anywhere. So that's very interesting to see. These spurts have been slowly growing towards each other. Obviously, these would have to connect through the city, which might be more of a struggle. Wouldn't be surprised if you see something like this from this spurt. Like if this spurt comes down and kind of surrounds this. Classic Russia, like I said. Where we are seeing a lot of movement is in this particular area right here. Obviously, Kiev is very important to Russia. They're really trying to push down this area. And what I think they're trying to do is they're trying to take this whole western and southwest area all down here. I think their goal, if I'm honest with you, is to kind of go to the river like this. Take that there. I think that's their goal. Obviously, I hope like crazy that they're unsuccessful. But I'm pretty sure that's their tactic because they really want to cut off this. We know this area down here to the south of Kiev is where they're getting most supplies. It's where they're getting anti-tank missiles. It's where they're getting a bunch of support from NATO, from the US, from the UK. It's where they're getting humanitarian aid. This area right here, down in the south, which is obvious, right? We can all guess that. So if they can cut that off, again, they're going to strangle the city. When they strangle the city, they sit there and they starve until they escape. Down here, it's more of the same stuff going on. That's why I'm not going to cover it too much. Not much has changed since the last update. Again, more spurts coming off. Things slowly growing. Russia have taken quite a bit. Let's be honest. Like down here, it's getting pretty drastic. But again, they're being way slower than they think they are. They think they're supposed to be going real fast. I don't think they anticipated at all how well the Ukraine forces are fighting and how well they're holding them off. And I think that they're going to start getting very desperate very soon. And I hope to God, I hope that they start backing off, or I hope at least when the talks happen today, when you're watching this, I hope we get some more of a solution about what's going on, because things are getting drastic, guys, and they're getting worse and worse. Like, I don't see... The train slowed down a bit. This war train slowed down a little bit. But I'm worried that it's only going to cause more desperation by Russia. We just have to hope that that's not the case, right? That's kind of the main hope. I will do an update again in the next couple of days, followed by some Halo and some more lighthearted stuff. As privileged as we are, I've spoke about that. I will do some light-hearted stuff in the end of the week as well, guys. All right, members, you're beautiful, you're amazing, I love you. I couldn't do this without you. Couldn't make these videos if it wasn't for these members every single day. You're amazing. I love you. Genuinely, thank you. Links down below to my socials if you want to get a hold of me. Instagram and Twitter DMs are the best way to do that. Make a question down below and I will answer it in the next video. Other than that, I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.